Yeah, try that. Oh, oh, hold on. So I see a split view now. That's a good sign. That's a great sign.
Okay.
On the bottom, Renee, with your with that camera button, can you click that?
Yep. Well, it says turn off and on, but do you see me?
No, it's your profile picture.
I just see your photo. I hear you.
Yeah, I can't. I can't see you guys either.
What the hell is going on?
Okay, why?
What's
It's
that
like,
say?
because with Oscar, it was kind of the same way. When we added that person, we struggled.
But what's weird is we got to work with Oscar, so it's like.
Hey, did you know something? We're having struggle. Josh Kate just walked in. We're not live. We're fine.
That's Renee's husband. He's a tech guy.
We can't see you anyway. So.
Josh, we are live. We're live where? On Facebook?
Yes, I'm saying.
Great. Hello, everyone.
Oh, hey.
It started on its own? Well, that's awkward.
What's this?
Oh.
Welcome, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. Oh. Good. Thank God it's only been running for a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're
Go on and.
That was Casey. I feel like that was a Casey comment. Probably fix their nose.
So yeah, we're trying to get Skype to cooperate with us, and currently it's not. Trying to get Renee and Carrie in here. We have there's Carrie. That was a quick little glimpse of Carrie.
Why would anything go our way?
How dare Facebook start without our permission?
Right?
You didn't even ask.
It didn't even ask.
It didn't even ask.
I thought there would have been a start button.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like YouTube.
Hey, now you can go live now. All right. So Renee, we have your beautiful profile picture.
Okay. Oh, there she is.
Yep, there she is. So we're good with that. So you know what? Since Facebook wanted to go ahead and just kick it off for us, while we were in the debate room trying to figure out how to get everybody on this call, we're still as we're here, we're gonna work because I know Renee has hubby in the background trying to help her out. Trying to get her image, trying to get her actually live with us. I mean, she's here, right, Renee? You can hear us?
She probably muted herself so she have to talk freely.
We might need to get a tin can and some string.
That might be the most effective, honestly.
Yikes. All right, so Renee's probably talking with Josh right now, trying to figure out how to get her image to pop up. But, so what I'd like to do... It is a great picture, Renee.
I love the picture, Renee.
So, Carrie, first of all, I'd like to introduce us to you. We've been doing this podcasting for a while. We obviously had a hiatus during COVID. There wasn't much really to talk about, obviously.
Right.
And then Renee approached me one day and asked if I would like to get my lazy ass back in gear and kind of start doing this again. To which I said sure, but kind of needed her to be the social media push and drive that she is, because she does all the writing. She has a lot of influence as far as that goes. And then to which Ryan reached out to me and we said let's get the show back on the road. So we're back. We've been doing this I've been doing it for a total of like 5 years, 6 years.
You were probably 6 years. Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah.
But
Our first live experience was with Peter Zimmerman, and that was just as much as a fiasco as it is today. But I'd like to introduce everyone to you who might not know your massive background.
And I mean,
It's
a lot of
massive.
stuff.
Which
I'm an old lady. Yes, thank you.
No.
I have to say, because if I don't say this, it's gonna eat me up all night.
Go ahead.
I had a complete nerd moment when I was looking at your IMDb page today, and I don't know why I didn't connect it before, but you were on one of my my favorite show, and that was Stargate SG-1.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wow. I get, people talk to me about that all the time. That is, I think it's the first one that he very much remembers. The first thing that my now husband saw me in. Apparently that episode made quite an impact.
Honestly, you know what? You were Diana Mendes, right? I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was like a pivotal episode in that entire show, in my opinion.
Right.
Wow.
Well, it was one of those things. It kind of, my experience on Stargate reminds me a little of my experience on Walking Dead, and that, like, when you go on Stargate, you want to see the Stargate. Right? Nope. And I wasn't in another world or something very like fabulous and what have you. I'm in an office. I'm in a lab. It's like okay. And funny enough, my brother works in visual effects, and he actually worked on those scenes, which was really funny. So I got a call one day, and he said, "Guess who I'm looking at right now?" And I was like, "Okay, be nice. Don't add a weird, thing coming out of my head or something." But yeah, I died, so I did not go back in that series, but it was really fun to work with that cast. And many years later, I got to work with Michael Shanks on a Hallmark movie, funny enough, and we laughed about that, and it was a really, really cool show to be a part of, and it's something, like I said, that people still talk to me about.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I have to say, like, as far as like main cast go, Michael Shanks' character is probably one of my favorites. So that's pretty cool.
And he's just such an awesome guy too. So that was such a great casting decision, from the film to the series. That was such a seamless choice with Michael Shanks for that role. Yeah.
That's awesome. I told Renee and Chris, I was like, the minute I saw that, I had to bring that up because that was awesome. I actually just started rewatching it.
That was, I think I shot that in like mid 2001, possibly. Yeah, up in Vancouver, which is where I'm from.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's always fun to go home and work. I lost a shoe, so I'm back. I'm good.
So just real quick, they're saying there's an echo, and I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's not our microphones.
Well, I can think of it right today. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute my mic just a bit away. Then we'll split it. You can still hear us, Carrie. We're still good. You're in.
I can hear you, and I don't hear an echo. But
all right.
Yeah, we don't have anything on our end. They're saying it's on the other side.
We have not delved into the Facebook Live yet.
Better.
Okay.
So the echo is getting better.
We're making improvements slowly but surely.
Yes.
if only we can get Renee.
Yeah, I know. Renee is working diligently with her husband, I'm sure. So
she may be in a car right now, and all of a sudden she'll pop up right next to you.
Should she call in on her phone? Renee, maybe that would fix it. I don't know, dude. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just want to throw out some of your other works that you've had. Obviously, I'm huge. I mean, not that Ryan isn't a big gamer, but I was a huge gamer with Dead Rising. And then, as I was going through your IMDb, I also noticed that you were on Dead Rising Watchtower.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta see this movie, and I didn't even know this movie existed, which is kind of depressing for me because I would have watched this a long time ago. And when it came out in 2015. And you play a news anchor, right?
I do.
Susan, is it Collier?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like it's just a nice little comic relief to it. I mean, obviously, it's based off a video game. It's not the serious Z-Pod thing, but did it help give you any kind of experience with The Walking Dead? I mean,
Absolutely not. Once again, I get in these projects where I'm like, okay, this is a zombie movie. Like, let's go. And I'm in a newsroom the entire movie. I never leave that newsroom.
really?
The only zombies that I saw were at the premiere, and they scared me every damn time. Every time they walked up to me, I started screaming because at the party afterwards, they had like a fog kind of situation, and they would like lay down in this fog, and so you'd be like walking along, hey, how you doing? Like, every time they got me. Like, so I was like, maybe I shouldn't be around the zombies. Maybe that's the problem. Like, no, that film, my stomach laughs my stomach hurts every time I think about it because we laugh so hard. I got to work with the amazing Rob Riggle, and probably about half, if not more, of all of our dialogue is completely ad-libbed. And, Zach Leposky directed that, and he really just let us go. Like, there was scripted material for sure, and then he just wouldn't say cut. And so we would just keep going until one of us would start laughing. So they had like so much extra footage, and I know that they had said that they actually wanted to have like outtakes run through the credits, but they didn't have enough time to put all of that together. But I'd never met Rob before, and we met essentially in hair and makeup, and I just said to him, just go, like, you cannot offend me. Right. Just do you, right? And I will try to keep up. And he's like, really? And I was like, yes, go. So we really, it just, as the shooting went on, it got just crazier and raunchier, and like, it was so much fun. It was a lot of fun to have like no parameters at all, and we could just do what we wanted. It was really incredible because Rob's the master of the ad lib in comedy, so it was great. But yeah, no zombie action for me in that movie at all. Zero.
Yeah,
I didn't even get dirty.
You just got to broadcast the news, apparently.
I broadcast the news, and I, but I did get to have a lot of fun banter with Frank West, who, is the iconic character from that video game. So that was cool.
So as I scroll through your works of art here, I do have one question that really, really popped in my head as I'm reading the titles of everything. In 2013, there's something called Hot Guys with Guns.
Okay, yes.
And then your character's name is Jessica Vagine.
What's her name? So the story with that was, we got to name our own characters, and so my partner in crime in that movie was on set before I was and chose that last name.
I like it.
And so I got stuck with the last name Vagine. And when you're in a movie called Hot Guys with Guns, that's an appropriate name for a character.
It just took me by surprise as I'm reading, and I'm going, oh, okay, oh, Hot Guys with Guns. Jessica Vagine. Right. Okay. All right. Now I know.
Yes.
Yeah, it put me right in a perfect mindset for who we were talking to tonight.
We like to do thorough research on our guests.
I gotta say, you were the only one that's ever like questioned that. Like, no one else has ever asked me about it.
If anybody's gonna find it, it's gonna be us.
Yeah. Yes.
We're very thorough, if not anything.
Just real quick, if people want to check out some of your previous stuff, Supernatural, you were in an episode called Bugs in 2005.
You were in Kyle XY, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I played Kyle's fake mom.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, just stuff that I didn't think about. That's all.
Orphans of Waverly Place.
Yep.
A Dog Named Christmas, which is actually it's a cute film. It is.
It is.
Supernatural again in 2015 in Just by Imagination.
And obviously the infamous Clark.
And obviously the infamous Clark, which we're going to get to. So real quick, I just want to let everybody know this is all being brought to you guys through the camp, from the camp page. For those of you who might not know or didn't hear already, but the camp is going to be holding their third annual event at in Peachtree City, Georgia, at the Hilton in May, the 28th and the 29th of next year, 2022.
Which we will be there for.
We will be there.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, it's a family-friendly event that features actors, vendors, and live entertainment across many genres. This isn't a typical con by any means. Believe me, this isn't like you're going to go and just, wait in line, get a photo, and walk away type thing.
What?
Yeah, what's this?
I just texted Renee too, and I was like, maybe we should have you unmute your mic so you can talk at least. And I was like, I felt so bad leaving Renee out.
Oh my God. You got me right in the middle of the camp spiel. Hold on. So, we want you to check out their website if you're interested in going. This is a great family affair. Like
Yes,
that?
it is.
Family affair. So check out their website. It's thecampevents.com. So go check them out. And you will not only see us at the camp, but you will also get to meet, I believe, Carrie as well.
I will be there.
Carrie will be there. She had
It's
just
my first
announced.
year, so let's do this. I'm excited.
Yeah.
No, it's totally not like a normal con. There's so many fun things going on.
I'm
It's-
very
That I'm
excited
hearing
because I want to get a Stargate autograph from you so bad.
There it is. So you need a Stargate photo.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm very
I would like a star. I would like a guys with guns, because I am a guy who loves guns as well.
Okay.
And, Jessica Vagine autograph would be amazing.
Okay. Yes.
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 To Chris, love Jessica Vagine.
Renee, is your microphone muted?
No, Renee's there.
I know, but now we can't hear her. Now we can see
no.
her.
Unmute.
I just started clicking.
Oh, there we go.
We did it. We did it.
I just started clicking
I'm a thing
buttons.
artist.
Oh
It's
my
alright.
gosh,
It's
that's
alright.
crazy. Welcome to the show.
I think Oscar's just trying to provoke us at this point.
Yeah, Oscar's he's being provoking.
Provocative?
He's poking. I was gonna say provocative, but I didn't. He's poking the bear in the chat.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what he does. It's okay.
We love Oscar.
We do. So
We love Oscar.
Does Carrie have a special event then at the camp?
I do, which I'm actually going to announce. So I am doing a very cool event at the camp, and it is a private lunch or dinner. It's a dinner. Thank you. And it's called Talk Real Shit with Carrie Genzel.
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We're going to talk some real shit. We're going to talk about what's going on with people. I'm a big advocate of mental health, and I have a blog, State of Slave.
I was gonna dive into that because I did read up on that. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I do work with Attitudes in Reverse that goes into schools to talk mental health and suicide prevention, because that is a part of my story. And so what I found is that certainly with Walking Dead fans, and certainly with Supernatural fans in particular, there's a great connection there with mental health and the fandoms. So we are going to go, and it's in a private suite, so we get to have our own space, and we're going to have some pizza and have some food and drinks and talk about real shit. And so you can buy those tickets on the camp website. And I'm looking forward to it because I get to really kind of sit and talk to people and have real connection and real moments, So that is an announcement. We decided to put that on the schedule, and it's there. So get your tickets because tickets are limited because we want to have a nice group and get a chance for everyone to share and talk. So get your tickets before they sell out.
Awesome. That's great.
That is really cool. Renee, did you have anything else you wanted to? I know that you've obviously missed the first 20 minutes, but
I was listening, so yeah.
I did the camp intro, so we gave the rundown of the camp, and we have been slowly introducing Carrie through all her works of all her past works, and obviously we're about to start talking about her previous works. Only the 2 episodes she was in, of course, because we know Zip, and we don't want anybody to give her the hook from the side. I don't know if anybody remembers this. And Ryan and I went to Ryan and I were doing a podcast with Peter and
James Chen.
Because they both were characters.
Eduardo and Cal from the Hilltop.
And I think it was Peter started diving into some things. And
He wasn't saying anything. He
Yeah.
was just kind of like teasing us with stuff,
Right.
like just enough to be like, "Ooh, what's going on?" And then he wouldn't say anything.
And not even like in a
And
blink
we
of an
made
eye.
a joke. Peter, you better stop before the AMC producers,
Yeah.
and
Dropped. His link dropped.
and all of a
Are
sudden
you
it's awesome.
serious?
Swear to God.
Swear to God.
And we were like, Pete, are you okay? And he called back. But it was just weird. It was all like just how it happened,
Like timing's everything.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right.
We understand that there's only so far we can go. Of course, I might try to, slip a little sneaker question in there, and you'll catch me. They always do.
They are always, hey, listen, they got us, they got everybody on a short leash.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I say anything kind of turn, I think Mercer is going to show up behind me and like drag me into reprocessing. So I don't want that.
We don't
No,
want him.
we don't want that either.
Not in his
Yeah,
pumpkin,
no.
not in his pumpkin-colored spacesuit.
No.
No. He's a very big man.
Yeah.
I don't want that. No.
He's actually. I want to arm wrestle him next.
Mm.
'Cause I arm wrestled Cooper.
Yeah.
And now I want to get to arm wrestle Mercer. I want to.
All right, you gotta do that.
It was a
Yeah.
skill made with me and Coop. So
Yeah.
let's see.
I was a photographer, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So can we dive? We got some viewer questions.
Sure, let's go.
Obviously, everybody wants to know who about Carrie. So this one is from Steph Morris.
Steph.
Steph says, Carrie, what is it? What was it like working on All My Children with the great Susan? I hope it's Lucci and David Canary. Did they
David
share?
Canary, yes,
Canary.
Susan Lucci and David Canary. That goes way back.
Yeah. She wants to know if they shared any words of wisdom with
Oh, did they?
you. Yeah.
Gosh, you know what? David Canary, who has since passed away, played my dad and my uncle on the show. He played two characters. He was twins. Of course, there's a soap opera. You have to have twins, right?
In any kind of soap opera, you have to have.
You have to.
And then there's a weird triplet from somewhere else.
Yeah, right, exactly. And he really was like, I called him my New York dad because he really did kind of look after me in New York. I was living in LA when I got that part, and so I was very quickly moved to New York, and I didn't know anybody, and all of a sudden I was on a show every day, and it was very overwhelming. It was my first kind of really big job. I'd kind of done some guest star parts and little things here and there, some film, but to be on a daily show every day was a lot of attention and a lot of responsibility. So yeah, he really looked out for me a lot, and I had some really awesome moments with him, and we got to really talk a lot about relationships in terms of fathers and daughter relationships and family, and really kind of share our experiences of what we've been through. And Susan Lucci, is the queen of daytime. I mean, to work, that was very surreal, like working with her the first time. Because I didn't watch All My Children prior to getting that role, but I of course knew who Susan Lucci was.
Yeah.
And to work with the queen of daytime was pretty impressive. And what's even more impressive is she has a photographic memory. No, is that what it's called? Where like she just looks at something once and remembers everything on the page.
Mm-hmm.
So she remembers your lines too. So when you're flying through, 35 plus pages a day, I was pretty good at being on book and being, pretty good about it. But, there's a little leeway there, right? But if you were a little off, she'd kind of tweak her head. And I was like, oh, I just got nabbed by Lucci. It was like brutal. I was like sweating all the time. I'm like, oh, I gotta know these lines. He's gonna know.
Like a disappointed parent.
Right? And it was so subtle. It was always like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh boy.
I'm waiting for you to tell me more.
What's that?
She was like, I'm waiting for you to tell me more.
Right?
Keep going.
Right. And there's always, like, in soap operas, there's those awkward moments anyway at the end of the scene when you just stare at each other. So you know that's coming anyway. I'm like,
Also, and besides All My Children, you were also on Days of Our Lives, which was my mother's all-time favorite. The Bold and the Beautiful, and All My Children. And
yeah, I did have a little run there with some daytime TV. Bold and Beautiful actually was the very first job I had where I got to say lines on camera, and I was a nurse.
Yes.
And which, you know, you got to be a nurse at some point if you're going to be on a soap. And, you know, it was a great experience because I did like what they call, under 5. So I had less than 5 lines, but it was a big deal because I got to go in and rehearse with the cast and I had, you know, things I had to say and do. And it was a great kind of first time job to kind of get used to speaking on camera and you know, knowing what the day entailed, what I was responsible for, and like, you know, it was a good little job for me. And I did a number of those episodes.
6 in total.
What's that?
6 in total.
6 or something. Yeah. The daytime and IMDb and daytime, they're not that accurate in terms of, you know, because there's so many episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then, you know, I got All My Children probably a few years after that, and was on that for about a year and a half, and then I did a recurring role on Days of Our Lives when I left All My Children. I went back to LA, and it was, my mom watched Days of Our Lives too, so to walk on the set and be in Salem was like, this is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
I had some, you know, some street cred with my mom, you know, which is good. You know, but it's always fun, you know, to walk onto a set that you know. You know, Walking Dead, I've watched since the beginning, and I had auditioned for the show before, and one of the sister shows before, and didn't get it, and was like, oh, that's a bummer because I love this. So when I auditioned for it last winter, you know, I just try to go in, send in the audition, and forget about it, right? Because there's nothing I can do about it once it's sent off. Yeah. And I was on another job, and we were in quarantine. We couldn't leave. We had to actually live. I was working for Tyler Perry, and we had to live at Tyler Perry Studios in a bubble. We could not in an actual bubble, but like, you know.
Thanks for that clarification.
How do I get out of this bubble?
Yeah, it was like, why am I in this bubble?
There's no door.
But anyway, and I got a call from my agent, and she's like, I have some great news. She's like, you know, you booked Walking Dead, and I was like, like freaking out, right? And she's like, but they need you to go into wardrobe while you're in quarantine. And I'm like, what? No. You can't say they want you and then you can't do it. Like, that's not fair. So my agent and the casting directors worked like really hard to find a compromise, and I am so grateful to Mr. Perry because he actually rearranged the schedule so that I could be released early so that I would be available for Walking Dead. And that was so kind of him because he did not have to do that. And his schedule makes soap operas look slow. He works so quickly over there. I just worked for him again, and he shoots over 100 pages a day. It's unbelievable. And so I was able to do both. And, you know, initially they wanted me in sooner because Clark was supposed to be in the armor. She was supposed to be in the white soldier armor. And so they make all of that, right? They customize it to each person. So they measure and everything. And so I was pretty psyched because I was like, okay, this is going to be pretty badass, right? And then I go into wardrobe and they have a whole like rack of suits. And I was like, yeah, I play Clark. So we got to get the armor on. And anyway, they go, no, they changed their mind. You're in a suit. And I was like, really? And once again, you know, walking onto that set the first time, no zombies. I saw nothing.
Someone get this woman some zombies,
Yeah, can we
please.
get her-
Why don't I ever get to see zombies when I go to work? And it was a funny experience because, we shot that back in February, those first 2 episodes, and everybody was really excited because my hair was done. Right? It was like perfect, right? I got to have a manicure, which they were like, ooh, no one gets to have a manicure on this show. They're like, all the girls are going to be so jealous.
Well, the Commonwealth,
Right? Everybody's dirty. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very, I'm in my suit, and, it was just such a weird experience. And it was odd because, like, at that point, and now you still haven't seen too much of it, but you really didn't see anything of the Commonwealth. So we were you'd gotten some tastes of it at the end of season 10, but we were kind of the first introduction into like this new world, which, it got a little more exciting than just that room.
Yeah.
We should have served ice cream and cake because, that would have really livened it up a little. But it was, for me as a fan, I was like so excited to walk on the set for the very first time and then get to sit down and interrogate these incredible actors that I have loved for years, and ask some pretty ridiculous questions. When I read in the what they did when I auditioned is they of course took all the real character names out, and then they just kind of mashed it all together into like a couple of pages. And I was laughing because if you're a fan of the show, the first part of that first scene is very, very obvious who that character is when you just read dialogue, even with all the names stripped out of it, especially when the question of the zip code comes up. I was like, character that would answer this question this way. So when I finally I'd say the script, but they don't even trust me with the script. I only get pages that are mine, which are all watermarks. So God forbid those things get out anywhere. I'm toast, right?
Right.
I was like, please, I literally hand them in before I leave and go, please shred these on my behalf. I do not even want these on my person. But, to sit down in front of Ezekiel, the king, and ask, what do you use to wipe, was really, I gotta say, a career highlight.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think for everybody, once that episode aired, that was like one of the most talked about things. Was like they're literally asking people how many times they go to the bathroom and what do they use to wipe. It's like
the most obscure questions, and I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, and they all serve a purpose.
Yeah,
we have toilet paper in the Commonwealth.
Right.
Rations, man, rations.
Question.
3 squares. That's all you're allowed.
That's it.
And it's 1 ply, so.
True, but it is toilet paper. I mean, at that point, I was like, after what we all went through with COVID and not having toilet paper, I'm like, this is a very valid question at this point.
Yeah.
What in the hell are you people using?
Right. True.
But, in terms of those questions, as much as people laughed about them, like, and trust me, I gave those questions a lot of thought. Like, how many bowel movements do you have a day is a very valid question in terms of your health, right? So they're trying to find out information about everybody, but also trying to throw them off a little too. So,
First, someone says fair square.
Yeah, you get 1 square. Yeah. I laughed because, when I did Supernatural, just my imagination, of course, you have sparkle on your face has followed me around, ever since that episode aired. And when I, when Walking Dead aired, I was like, it's going to be replaced by what he used to wipe now. And I was like, I don't know what's better or worse, but, yes. And at least, you get to come on with a bang, it's like,
True.
People remembered that, and I just remember shooting. It was really crazy to shoot that because we shot it kind of like round robin. It felt like speed dating, where, you know, Josh would sit down and I'd rattle through all the questions and then he'd leave. And then who would come in next? I think Carrie sat down and then I'd rattle through all the questions, sit down. And it was like really exhausting for me. Like it was like, because I'd have to keep going over and over and over all of these questions. And it was freezing cold in that set. We shot in an old warehouse. It had really high ceilings. It had no heat. And even when they would bring heaters in between scenes, all the heat would just go up. And so you wouldn't even feel it. So in this scene, if you notice, I have my clipboard and I'm making notes or whatever, but I always like put my hands like this under the table. It's because I'm holding on to those warm, like hot shots.
I'll have to rewatch that episode now.
Keeping my hands in view. And like, I would have them on the chair and then I pick them up and hold onto them. And at one point I had like 6 of them. I was like holding onto them for dear life. Somehow you don't really see our breath in the scene, but you do see Michael Shaw's. In one of them, you can kind of see his breath, but that's how cold it was in that set. And it's like my teeth were like chattering. We were all so cold. I'm like, this little suit's not keeping me very warm. And I wore slippers through every scene because my shoes were like, you know, dress shoes, and it didn't, you know, it was so cold. And in one of the behind the scenes shot, you can see my feet and you can see that I'm wearing slippers, which some people pointed out. I was like, you know, Clark likes to be comfortable when she interrogates people.
Exactly. It's all about comfort, you know?
Right? She's going to sit there a long time. She got to wear some slippers.
You should have gave your shoes to other people to wear to make them uncomfortable, and then
Correct.
ask the question. So,
yeah. Anyway, it was a lot of fun asking all those questions.
So I'm gonna go through. I got Linda, Linda is one of our great longtime followers, who's out in France.
Oh wow! Hi, Linda.
Yeah, I believe she's on.
Yeah.
What time is it in France?
For her, it's got to be like 1 or 2.
It's close. I think it's like midnight 1 right now. So, but she's a trooper. She hangs in there with us all night long.
We love that.
So she's also like one of our questioning queens. So I'm just gonna pick a couple from her because I want to make sure I get everybody as much as I can.
Okay.
So let's see. Who's a good one for her? She wants to know: do you think Yumiko was right about calling out Clark's forensic psychologist background?
I think that Yumiko is pretty smart and very in tune. So you know, I think you can kind of tell by Clark's reaction that she may have hit a nerve.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna leave it. Yeah, I think because you can tell you kind of you kind of like sit back a little bit, your face kind of relaxes and kind of like has like a oh shit moment. You know?
Right, but like this is a live one.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that Clark really is impressed by Yumiko. You know, they regard education very highly in the Commonwealth. And so when she starts throwing out Harvard and you know, Stanford, it's like, oh, wow, okay. And, you know, she is very smart. You know, I really love her storyline this season. And I know that initially in the comic books, it was Michonne's storyline, a lot of it, but I really feel like she's doing such an incredible job in bringing that to life. And I know in you know, that moment when she finds that picture of her and her brother on the wall of the lost, like it brought me to tears. Like there was, even though she had no dialogue in that moment, just the emotion there as a fan, like really hit me.
Sure.
You know. So I'm enjoying that storyline, watching that with her.
Yeah, because it's the same kind of thing when you follow the comics and when Michonne actually sees the picture, the photos on the photo board there. Even in the comics, it's emotional.
Yeah.
You know, so they did a really good job of
like translating that
from
TV.
Yeah, and then also the character switch from Michonne to Yumiko.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
Which we all knew someone was gonna have to pick up that storyline somewhere or another, and I think they did it really well. It's pretty seamless, you know.
Yeah.
So we got another one from Linda. Do you think the class system at the Commonwealth is fair or not?
Well, that's going to be an issue, I feel like.
Mhm.
The thing is that I really love about the Commonwealth storyline is that um, there are a lot of there's definitely some survivors that we all love that have really done very well for themselves in the apocalypse,
Mhm.
right? And have probably excelled more so than before the fall. And in regards to the class system of the Commonwealth, like how are they going to fare in terms of their rank or their value when they may not be highly educated, traditionally so, or had a high power job, but have really proven their worth, in the apocalypse. So, is it fair? I don't know that it's fair. I think that that's just a way that they've adopted to um, have a place for everybody. And, probably like everything else, there's probably a little advantage of being seen as elite in the Commonwealth. And there may be some people sort of taking liberties and an advantage of their position and things they have access to. But we've really seen is that things seem a little off, but then there's other people that seem happy with where they're at. So I think it depends on who you were before the fall and where they place value in you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I mean, like, how many homeless people do we think were accepted by them? Yeah.
Well, but as Yumiko pointed out, right, in that second episode, when she hands, Clark her ass, you do need people to pick up the trash and do all of those things, right? You don't just need people who are educated. You
Right.
need
Yep.
all kinds of people to make the society and this community run properly. So, yeah, that's what's really interesting about the Commonwealth. And I think that's going to be the interesting point of view throughout this season
Mm-hmm.
in that storyline.
I think the class system like serves a purpose,
Sure.
but I don't necessarily agree with what I think Carrie said to the point that are there certain advantages to being part of the elite, and are there people who abuse those privileges? Absolutely. I think that's what we're going to start seeing.
Well, we already know
Well,
one of them
kind of already seen it.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Eugene's BFF.
Yeah, Eugene. Yeah, definitely his BFF. I have a off The Walking Dead topic question from Linda. It's based on The Watchmen.
Sure.
She wants to know, how do you remember your role as Jackie Kennedy from The Watchmen?
Oh my gosh, Linda, that is another one of those highlights of things that I've been able to do that I'm so grateful for. To be able to play Jackie Kennedy in Watchmen was like unbelievable. There was so much attention to detail in that movie. The wardrobe department was a warehouse, and it was all sort of blocked off in terms of decades. It was unbelievable. I've never seen it. I felt like it was in that last scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark when that's what it felt like. There was just so much stuff. And when I went to go try on my wardrobe, we shot that in Vancouver as well. Everything had been flown in from the Warner Brothers vault, and everything was authentic to that time. The dress that I wore, the shoes, everything was authentic to that time period. It was all meticulously labeled. And I remember when I walked out of the change room in the iconic pink suit with the hat, that like all work stopped in the wardrobe. Like everyone turned around. But it really was, it was just very, very cool. And, that production was so huge. It was like just such a huge production. It was really cool to be a part of it. Even the wig, they had the wig made to fit my head, and then I had to go back, and then they cut the wig on my head. I mean, it was this long process. It was really sad when the whole thing was done, because you really felt a part of this family, and you were part of this machine, and then it was done. And of course, we shot like the scene in front of the White House in a softball field. So it was just this huge, like the biggest green screen I've ever seen in my life, like in this big softball field. And of course, they added everything in later. But it was pretty amazing. The only thing that I was really disappointed in is they would not let me do the moment when the president gets shot and she crawls on the back of the car. And I wanted to do that so bad. I pleaded with them. Because first off, who doesn't want to be in the car and have like squibs go off and someone like brain matter flying around?
Hey, why are they always cutting?
Yes.
Why are they always cutting you out of the
That
good
is
stuff?
like one of the most iconic historical moments.
Yeah.
Right? And the stunt team was like, well, it's dangerous because you're in a moving car. And I'm like, yeah, but they're not driving fast. Like, they speed up once she's down, right, in the seat. And I said, she did it. She wasn't a stunt person. That didn't fly with them.
I think that was a valid point. That was a great point.
Well, yeah.
I thought.
But like everyone's trying.
And Zack Snyder was totally on my side. He's like, Carrie, I think you could totally do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, see? But no, they wouldn't let me do it. So I didn't get to do that moment. There was a stunt double for that moment. But it was just a really, really, really cool project to be a part of. It's so huge. And there was so much anticipation. And again, a ton of NDAs and like I couldn't say anything. And, so it was exciting when it was finally out. And then now there's a series and, keeps going on.
Yeah,
And Linda did include a picture, but I'm like, I could barely get on here tonight, let alone try to share a picture with everyone.
Right.
But she had a really cool picture, so
It was really, really, really cool. One of those iconic kind of moments where you're like, yeah, I get to be Jackie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Well, she's an iconic person in our history.
Yeah.
She's huge in our country,
Yeah.
and so that's pretty cool that you got to play her.
Yeah, and it was very odd because the scene in front of the White House was with Dr. Manhattan, so it had Billy Crudup in like poor guy in this like cat suit kind of looking thing with like dots all over him, right? And these like Frankenstein shoes, so that he was taller. It was just sort of like, hi, very nice to meet you. It just, it's so weird when you're in a moment shooting something with effects like that because it's so goofy looking in person, and then you see it on camera and it looks amazing.
And I mean, for those of you who haven't, if you haven't seen Watchmen, the movie,
Great movie.
It is one of their better ones.
I agree.
It's probably, in my opinion, it's the best one they've done because I really don't, they don't put out. AC doesn't really put out great quality, but
He's a Marvel fanatic.
yeah, Watchmen. So Watchmen came out in 2009, just in case if anybody wants to check it out, and then you get to see Carrie as Jackie Kennedy. So we'll go back to The Walking Dead now. Let me pull up some other viewer questions. Well, Renee. Oh, Renee had a good question, right? Renee, do you want to ask your own question, or do you want me to ask it for you?
go ahead, because I don't remember what I wrote down now.
So Renee basically said, who was the most fun to interview, Kari Payton or Josh McDermott?
Oh my gosh. Each of those characters are so unique and we laughed so much in between. There's a great behind the scenes shot that got released of me just laughing in the set, which I think is so funny because, Clark is very stoic in those first two episodes. But, both Josh and Kari, I can't pick one. Like, everybody was so great. I mean, all four of them were great. I mean, Princess is, of course, the newest addition to the Walking Dead family. And I was so excited to work with her just because I fell in love with that character at the end of season 10.
Yeah.
And I knew she was going to be a total smartass, and I knew it was going to be really hard not to smirk and laugh. And then I just loved the whole energy between Clark and Yumiko of like this stare down of these two like strong women, like, all right, let's go, right? But I was just amazed at Josh's ability to retain all those zip codes. Like I was like every single, and he never tripped up. Like every time I was like, wow. Like I must have heard him say that I don't know how many times, and I still could not repeat those numbers.
Was there like a lot of takes with that scene, like with the all the questioning, and was there a lot?
Yeah,
of
we
takes?
did a lot. Like we shot that over a course of several days. That first interrogation scene in Akron 1, it was days that we were doing that.
Yeah.
Just because it's a long scene with a lot of moving parts, and they shot it with different angles and different things, and you're seeing Mercer for the first time, and so all of that, there's a lot of care that goes into that. And one of the things that I really love about Walking Dead is, as an actor, they really take their time in terms of performance, and they give you space and they give you time. I never feel rushed, or a lot of times now on sets they're like, we got to make our day, we got to go, and Walking Dead has a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice as an actor to have the director and first AD be like, when you're ready, let's go, take your time, and give us actors time to find those moments in the scenes that are fun for the audience to watch, whether it's a look or a little ad-lib moment, or all those little things that make it so much better than even what's on the page. But what you have on the page is so great. So it's nice that they give you that time.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of comments in here about bloopers and stuff, and I was just, so one of the questions obviously being, were there a lot of bloopers during like the auditing and stuff like that with the type of questions? Like obviously they had no idea that they were going to be sitting down in front of you and you'd be asking them about their bowel movements and all that. So I mean, was there like any kind of like real genuine outbursts of laughter, like what the hell are you asking me right now, from anybody?
No, we kept it pretty. Like I said, it was so cold in there that we really wanted to get the stuff done,
Right.
and get out of that cold room and get back to our chairs where the heat was. But we did laugh a lot, and we kind of had an ongoing joke that they were there for a job interview. So when they come down, I'd be like, "Thank you so much for coming back. We've narrowed it down to 4 people, and we just have a few more questions." We would make jokes about that. And there wasn't really anything that stood out to me that was like a big blooper. We knew that it was a pretty big beast, this scene, to tackle, so we wanted to take our time with it, but get into it, because it really, for me especially, it was about getting into the rhythm of it. Right. And so when you start goofing around and stuff, it's hard to get into that rhythm because you're breaking that pace,
Right.
So I appreciated that they didn't goof around so much. But we definitely laughed a lot in between, the scenes and during camera setups and stuff like that, because, they're funny questions. And we talked a lot about character. I think what was really interesting for me as a fan is I learned a lot about those characters from those questions, things that I didn't know, or that maybe hadn't been revealed before. So we talked about that too, just about how, it's entertaining as a scene, but there's actually some new information that's revealed within those questions and answered.
All right. I just got a question in the chat, so we're going to bounce. So Eliza Jones wants to know, she had asked the question previously, and I didn't get to it, but she wants to know, was Jackie one of your most impactful roles as an actress? Playing Jackie?
Hi, Eliza. Yeah, I think it's one of those jobs that really stands out for me. Again, because she's such an iconic character, and then to have that moment of the assassination be a part of that job is such a iconic moment in history. So it was very cool. I mean, I didn't get to do a lot on Watchmen. I wish there was more that I could have done. So it was, it didn't really impact my career so much. It's a cool credit to have. And so here's a cool moment that happened because of Watchmen. So growing up, and still, like I'm making it sound like it was just when I was a kid, but huge Star Wars fan, right?
Okay.
And growing up, that was, my brother and I, we were all about Star Wars. And I was at an event a number of years ago now, and Mark Hamill happened to be there.
Oh, wow.
And somebody that a mutual friend knows him, and said, "Do you want to meet Mark?" And I was like, "Hey, just hold on a second. You don't just meet Mark. Like, give me a moment, please." I'm like, "Just, is there a paper bag? I don't know." This is Luke Skywalker. Like, and this
dude's a Jedi Knight, all right?
right? And this was before The Force Awakens came out. The first teaser had just come out, I think. So I had a lot of questions, which I knew were not going to get answered. But anyway, so I walked over, tried to act super cool, and like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And this person that introduced us knows my resume, and it said, "Carrie's in Watchmen." Well, Mark like proceeded to talk to me about Watchmen for 15 minutes, which I was like, didn't even realize was going on at the time, because I still was in my head going, "Shit, talking to Mark Hamill." But in a way, it was like, how brilliant of him, because we managed to have a whole wonderful exchange where he made it all about me, and talking about Watchmen, and he's a huge comic book fan, and I never even got a chance to ask him anything. I was like, he is a Jedi Master, because wow, I didn't even see that happening as it was like, I didn't even, till I walked away, I was like, whoa. But a very, very lovely man, and it was fun talking about the movie with him, and he actually explained some things to me, because I found it a little confusing. So it was fun. It was fun to talk about that. So Watchmen impacted my life a lot in that moment. But I've been around for a while, and it really depends on who you talk to. There's certain things that like pop out for certain people, like Stargate, or if people have kids, like it'll be Wizards of Waverly Place. Like, I'll be randomly. I've been in audition rooms where all of a sudden the director's like, "You were Aunt Megan on Wizards of Waverly Place," and I'm like, "Yeah." I have kids, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's really random what comes up. So it's always fun for me when someone brings something up, because I don't know what it's going to be. So I've really been blessed in that. I've done such a wide range of things, from genre stuff to comedy to, I worked with Flavor Flav on a sitcom, so it's I've had an interesting career.
Flavor?
So we were corrected. It's Aliza.
Aliza, yeah.
And she had asked a question before, kind of similar along the same track.
Yeah.
For you personally, Carrie, what would you say was your most memorable role you've ever done for yourself?
Wow. Gosh, it really, there really isn't really one thing for me. There's so many of them that I've had in my career where it meant really something to me in that moment, starting with All My Children, just because that was the first time I was a contracted actor on a TV show. And so I learned a lot on that show, and things in terms of acting, things I use still today, every time I step on set. Watchmen is one of those standout moments. Walking Dead, of course. There's been so many different things, and incredible just experiences that I've had, that it's hard to say like one thing in particular. There's been a lot. There's been a lot. I don't know, maybe I need to write a book.
I would buy it. I'm just saying. You've got your first customer right here.
Just get the whole Mark Hamill segment in there.
I just require that there be a sex
We'll call it the Vagine Way.
Yes. Yes. Doing it the Vagine way. With or without guns, we don't know. We're not sure.
With or without, right? Oh my gosh, so crazy.
So since we were talking about, you know, a little Star Wars lead-in, how often have you had someone, or have you heard someone mention that, like, the Commonwealth military, they look like stormtroopers? Has that come up a lot?
Yeah, people definitely. I thought that too when I first saw them. But they do look exactly the way they did in the comic book.
Mhm.
Like they recreated that really well.
Yeah.
That's why I was so excited when they said we have to fit you for armor. I was like, no way. Like, and then I was wearing a Tommy Hilfiger suit. So
And Carrie's like, damn it, I wanted the armor.
right, but then they were like, you really don't because it's very uncomfortable.
I'm
So
I'm sure it's very bulky and there's not a lot of flexibility with it, you know.
So
I don't know how the heck they're like getting on horses with that stuff,
Yes.
but apparently they are. So
Lots of practice.
I guess.
yeah, hopefully they're not riding bareback. Sorry, I mean, you know. No, it's funny because my 15-year-old, Xavier, he doesn't watch the show. He only knows about it because of what I do. But
Right.
I had your 2 episodes playing today, and one of the first things out of his mouth, he goes, "Oh wow, they look like stormtroopers. Hope they don't have the same aim as they do." I was just like, "That's really good, kid. I'm gonna write that down."
That remains to be seen
Yeah,
how
that
good they're
remains to be-
aiming.
exactly. Yes. That does remain to be seen. Let me see. So,
We shall see.
Yeah. During the scene with Ezekiel and Mercer. So the camera pans obviously for Ezekiel to have his conversation. Are you in the background giggling at all when he says, you know, the pumpkin colored suit to him at all? I mean, because
No, I'm not laughing because
I'm putting myself in
there
that,
is no way.
and I'm laughing. I'm like, if I'm Clark, I'm laughing my ass off behind a camera.
Oh my god, yeah.
Listen, you know, you're not messing around with Mercer,
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
and
yeah.
you know the way it was explained to me is that I report to Mercer, so he's my boss. So
True.
That would be a bad career move.
you know, I also the way that Clark and Evans were explained to me too is that they were labeled in terms of production as the Scully and Mulder of the Commonwealth, which I was totally down with.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't get to be a stormtrooper, but I will totally go with, you know, Scully and Mulder.
I mean, Renee, that's come up in some places, right? I think, did you tell us about that?
I think I on Twitter or somewhere people had said that.
Oh, they
Yeah.
put that up?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's definitely been out there.
Yeah. I was like, I'll roll with that.
Yeah.
No. You know, the thing is in the scene, like, you know, I'm between cut, you know, or action and cut. I'm Clark. So I'm looking at Ezekiel going, dude, you're like disrespecting us,
Right,
you know,
right,
and by the way, I know you have cancer. So like, you're also lying to us.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That goiter, there's no way that that's benign.
Yeah.
So you know, right after that, he starts coughing up blood.
Yep.
So it's kind of a serious moment. It's kind of like, oh shit, you know.
yeah.
For him, you know, and for us, it's like, oh, okay, this is serious. He's not well.
Yeah.
So where does that place him in our community? You know.
Yeah, we kind of have our own theories going on with how his health and how he's being taken care of. You know, in the episode where he gets taken, you know, they're clearing out the bodies and all that stuff from the building, and you know he has a little fit, and then they take him away. Obviously, we don't know like the timeline to where he comes back, but he comes back. He's good as new. It's like he got his oil changed, and you know, like changed a couple, you know, like. He's got lollipops for everybody, and you know we're all the three of us. The three of us are kind of looking at each other like, yeah, this is fake as shit. He's definitely blowing. He's blowing smoke. Like it's just not. I don't know. Like you know, they got chemo. Like they're giving radiation therapy. Like come on, you know. I don't know. So we're on to you, Commonwealth people. We know it's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on over there.
You know, as with everything, you know, nothing is usually as it appears to be.
Right.
Yeah.
There's chemo pots and radiation.
Chemo pots.
Chemo pots and radiation water. As a guesstimate, how long would you guess that Clark's been with the Commonwealth? She's very established, obviously, with her role and her job. So how, if we were to guess how long Clark's been with the Commonwealth?
I think that she's been with them for quite a long time.
Mm.
You know, I feel like there was probably a big group of people that have come that were sort of this sort of bureaucratic kind of group of people that probably essentially formed it.
Mm.
You know, and I think that she's pretty well established in that community.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna guess close to the beginning.
Yeah, and I would
That's
agree with
what
that.
I would. Yeah.
I mean, she's literally the gatekeeper of the Commonwealth.
Right.
I mean, you know, entry or denial, which one's it going to be?
Mm-hmm.
And if the elite of the Commonwealth want only a certain type of group of people
Right.
in the Commonwealth, then
Go through.
you have to trust the person who's literally holding the keys to the kingdom.
Right. Right.
Right.
And in that case, it's Clark.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Well, and Mercer,
And
Well,
Mercer.
Mercer.
but you know,
And Pumpkin Boy.
there's a small group of us that are the gatekeepers
Yeah.
essentially.
All right. So I hear you're supposed to be auditing us tonight, or one of us tonight. Is this true?
Chris, not us. Chris.
No, just I'm trying to pass the buck here. I'm trying to
I volunteered you yesterday.
Okay.
Nervous, are we?
I'm a little
He
bit.
seems very
I'm
nervous.
not gonna lie. I'm a little red.
He's a little
I
red
don't
right
know
now.
what to do. I feel I got this light beaming on me. You know.
Well, you kind of look like you're in the Commonwealth somewhere, like you're in detention. You're in like
I'm
processing.
being reprocessed or whatever. Is it
The
reprocessed?
current's
yeah,
behind us, yeah.
you're in for processing.
Yeah.
The curtain's behind us to give us our aesthetic.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah, look like a bunker kind of situation.
I can't let anybody know
Camera.
the location. That's the thing. We are, we're very secretive. In our
Right.
approach.
Are we?
Yes.
All right.
Don't give it away. I mean, you're gonna make my auditing go very well.
Its address is.
All right,
All right. Well, let me get into character here. It's not gonna work.
right. It's
Okay.
Breathe. don't think vagine.
No,
See, you're
definitely not thinking hot guys with guns or whatever it's called.
you're so gonna go find that movie.
I'm 100%. I need to find
He's
it.
gonna show up to the camp with a picture of the character from the movie
I have
and be like,
ways.
"Can you sign it for me?"
I have ways of taking images and printing them on shirts. So
It's just a moment. I was at the
Well-
time very friends with the writer director, and it was really just me kind of stepping in and doing a cameo, which
Yeah.
is how it was like, name your character, and kind of being a part of something. So there's not a lot to take from that.
all I need is one image, one still frame, and it's going on a shirt, and I'm gonna wear it to the camp, and you're gonna have to sign it, Miss Vagine.
Well, I'm in. Listen, if you're going to all that trouble, I will. Yeah, I'll be ready.
All right. I
All
think
right.
I'm ready now, Miss Clark.
Mm.
Mm.
I don't think that you're allowed to address me
Oh,
by name.
well then.
So
You already screwed it up.
I already have
you're
it up, yeah.
already at a negative, Chris.
Okay.
All right. Chris, you are in level 1 assessment. If you pass level 1, you'll move on to level 2. Let's start your assessment. Where did you go to high school?
Arlington High School,
What did you do for a living?
law enforcement and security.
What was your highest level of educational attainment?
1 year of college.
So you didn't finish?
I didn't.
Have you been vaccinated for measles?
Yes.
What was your last zip code?
12590.
Oh, so we just found out the location of your studio.
That was the last location, not my current.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Noted. I'm doing way too much smiling for Clark.
I know.
Do you consider yourself a fundamentally honest person?
Yes.
How lucky are you and why?
I am extremely lucky because I've been able to provide for my family during these tough times and keep a roof over my head.
Where's the location of your settlement?
I don't. What? I don't.
Have you had any experiences with other groups out there?
Yes.
Please explain in detail.
They're all dead. I killed
Location of your settlement?
Don't have one. I'm a free range mover.
I'm afraid. You sound like a shapeshifter.
I thought a free range chicken, and then I was
like cage free.
I'm cage free. I'm a free range. Yeah, that's it. I'm a cage free chicken.
When he's like, they're all dead, I want to be like, oh, I would have been part of the settlement probably.
I was like, well, the guy next to you is still alive, I think. Okay.
Okay.
Favorite Halloween costume and why?
Bane, because I like Bane from Batman. He's a bad guy.
Have you ever had any negative effects from wearing a Halloween costume?
A little chafing.
Would you like to expand on that?
It's a tight outfit.
Would you wear that costume again?
Sure, why not?
What did you do before the fall?
Law enforcement.
Were you good at your job?
I like to think so.
What did others think?
I don't care what other people think.
What's the location of your settlement?
I don't have one. I wanted to say I'm a free range chicken again, but I didn't.
You're a free range chicken. You are totally going back to reprocessing.
Yeah, I know. I didn't make it, bro. Come here. They're kicking me out.
I made it either.
They're kicking me out. We're gonna be on the road again. This is Rudy.
Hi, Rudy.
He's been pawing at my lap all night.
Yeah, mine
I'm
too.
sure.
Yeah.
I have a dog too. She's downstairs.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
So we're being reprocessed. They won't keep
They're
us.
going to reprocessing.
Yeah. What if I have a therapy dog?
Yeah, I haven't. Is that your therapy dog going to reprocessing?
Yes, we're gonna go together. That was good. I was nervous. I was actually.
I was nervous for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
I feel like I wasn't quite in my. It's hard to do when you're looking at like a little screen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You still had a good. effect on me.
When we were shooting, and you meet everybody, and it's like, hi, how are you? And everyone's jovial and whatever, and then, you sit down and do the scene, and Paula was so funny because she was like, the first pass of the question, she goes, "Damn, you're good at this." I got nervous. And it was really fun. Kevin Dowling, who directed those first 2 episodes, is so great. And he'd come up to me and he'd say, we'd do passes where I'd like rapid fire the questions, and then he'd come up to me and say, "Take your time." Right? And so I would have like long pauses where I would just stare at them and not say anything. And they use some of that footage, especially Josh, where I felt it's funny how because I know these characters, I felt the most sympathy for Eugene because he is the reason why they all got there, and he just looked like he was about to like lose it at any time.
Yeah.
And he looked so uncomfortable, but it was really fun just to like stare him down and not say anything.
He's got, I call it boobing. He's just like boobs. He's just like he's just a great boob face. Like, I'm boob.
Well, right, that scene that, you know, in that next episode with Mercer where he like breaks down, it was like, you know, he's just such that character has changed so much because, you know, Eugene, when we first met Eugene, was not the Eugene we know today. And my opinion of that character has changed so much over the years, and that has so much to do with Josh's incredible performance and giving him so much heart, and you know, and also the writing, and they've really kind of done a really cool character arc with that character. But yeah, my heart, you know, was just like, oh God, I feel the most guilty with Eugene. That was I'm like, he's gonna lose it. You know, it's very funny how, you know, there's sometimes in a scene, you know, I always talk about like what I love about my job is that those moments when everything just kind of falls away and you're just in that moment and it's real in that moment. And there's a few times within that interrogation where for sure that happens. And sometimes as an actor, it doesn't happen because there's technical stuff where you've got a camera guy leaning against you and he's trying to get the shot or whatever. And it's hard to kind of just let all of that go. But, you know, there've been a couple of times that I've worked with people too, where I've like, you know, just forgotten that it's a scene where I'm like, well, I totally believe them, even though I know in the script that they're lying.
Right.
I'm like, oh, wait a second, no. But I just love that. I love those moments, you know, as a young girl, you know, that was the magic for me was, you know, going to the movies and that fantasy when that curtain opened. And, you know, I didn't know that that was a job or a career, or I didn't really understand exactly what it was. I just knew I wanted to be a part of it in some way. And it was later, you know, in high school when I got into the drama club and started doing plays and so forth that I was like, wow, this is such a magical thing. And, you know, going back to mental health, you know, as a young girl and a teen, and certainly in my adult life, you know, I went through a lot of, you know, self-hatred where I didn't like myself. I was uncomfortable in my own skin. And so for me, acting was a way for me to be somebody else. And, you know, that way, if you didn't like me, I was a character. It wasn't me. I never let you see who I was anyway. So that's okay. Yeah. And that was really a big draw for me, was finding that comfort in getting to step into somebody else's shoes. And as my mental health journey has progressed and I've been in recovery, you know, my love of acting has changed, you know, and it's moved more into just really the love of being a storyteller and connecting with those characters and getting to, you know, kind of tap into different parts of my personality and have fun. You know, my husband, if he were here, would tell you that he has met Clark on several occasions. And you know what's funny is he's a good reader. He reads with me a lot, and so for, you know, Walking Dead, because I had to be so on point with those questions and really, you know, be able to fire them off, he ran those lines with me a lot, and he makes a great Eugene and Yumiko and Princess. And, you know, and Ezekiel, he did a pretty good job, but he probably knew those lines just as well as I did, because I would be like, I got to do it again, and I just kept doing it over and over and over again, so that I was, you know, I knew it verbatim anyway that I had to do it. So, but anyway, so you know, for me, it's such a blessing, and I'm so filled with gratitude every time I get to walk on set, because it's such a gift. And especially during COVID, that these productions have gone to such expense and care to keep us all safe, um, in an industry where, you know, we're, especially as actors, we're constantly around people. And you know, it's a little strange still to be on set and you have these shields on and goggles or mask or whatever, and it's like, as an actor, we're all about that connection to each other, right? So it's weird to be sitting there and have these barriers, you know. But there's a bit of like a feeling of freedom when we get to take them off before the camera rolls and we get to just be, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm just always feeling blessed when I get to go to work and do what I do. And so much of what I love about my job is that those characters that I've played, or those stories that I've been able to tell, connect with audiences all over the world and mean so much to people. And, you know, that's why I love doing what I do. I love hearing from the fans. I love hearing stories about, you know, an episode or a show that helped them through a tough time, or made them laugh, or you know, or a character they related to. It's that, to me, is such a gift of what I do. And you know, Walking Dead is definitely one of those shows. Supernatural is one of those shows where there's such a connection to their fandoms. And I love that there's so much crossover. You know, there's actors that have been on both shows, and there's definitely fans of both shows. So, you know, it's been really fun to, you know, when I left the set the first day on Walking Dead, one of the ADs shook my hand and he said, "Welcome to the family." And I smiled and I said, you know, this is a real kick-ass family that I'm very proud to be a part of. You know, and that's what it is. It's a family, and it's really cool, you know. It's been very, very cool, you know, and it was such a relief when they released a promo, and and there was me, you know. I was in there because I couldn't say anything for so long, and it was killing me. Like, it was like, I felt like that Kristen Wiig character that can't keep a secret. Like, it was like, what are you working on, Carrie? Like, it was like, and I'm like, you know, you're posting the like really, you know, cryptic pictures from set, like, you know, it's like, I'm at work today, and like nothing in the background. It's like, it's cold. You can't say anything. You know, so it was such a relief. And it wasn't until like August when they finally, there was like, they did a bunch of the ask the cast questions, and they used my voice. And so I started getting like messages from people going, I just was watching this promo for Walking Dead, and I swear that's your voice. And I was like, really? Interesting. I don't know. I guess I should listen to that.
That's crazy. How'd they do that?
What's that?
Be like, oh, that's crazy. How did they get my voice?
I know, it's so odd. I should call my agent.
You really look into that. Like,
You're gonna have to pay me.
Really not cool. So it was cool once it was out. And then, you know, knowing the line of questioning, of course, I was really excited for the fans to see that and to see their reaction to it.
So everybody in the chat right now just wants to express to you how proud Oscar, the camp, everybody, how proud they are of you, everything that you've done, been able to accomplish. You know, obviously, what you fight for and what you stand for with mental health and everything it's huge. We both personally work for healthcare, doing security for, you know, the hospitals, and to say that mental health right now is drastically out of control is putting it lightly. It is the number one thing we deal with on a daily basis, and it's scary. It really is. I mean, there's right now there's not many outlets. There's not many places to go. There's not many places to go for help.
Not a lot of resources.
There's not a lot of resources, and it's something that needs a lot of revamping and a lot of work.
Especially with COVID.
Absolutely.
It's so
Yeah,
negatively
I myself found last year extremely difficult in terms of my mental health. I hadn't felt that way in many, 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 many years. And I had some really dark days, just the isolation. I'm Canadian and I wasn't able to go home and see my family. And there was some health issues going on over there. And I felt like trapped, and just that, certainly for a while, my industry stopped. There was no filming. Everything just abruptly stopped. But not just for me. I mean, everybody. I mean, it was globally. Like, it wasn't even just, here. And it was really hard on me. I really had to kind of get back to basics and go, wow, okay, what did you do when you were first, seeking help and getting better, and what do you got to get back and do those things for yourself. For me it was, okay, well, you have a lot of time. So I started giving back a lot more. I started reaching out. I was doing live streams once a week, through my blog, which I hadn't been doing just because of time, and connecting with people. How are you doing? What's going on for you? Where are you? What's happening in your city? And it was a great way for me to connect and talk about how I was feeling, and also for others to reach out and do the same. And, there's so much, as you said, there's so much work to do in terms of resources, but there are resources out there. And I always want people to know that they're not alone, because they're not. There are so many people out there that understand how you're feeling and have been there, and it's, I was just speaking to somebody the other day, and I said, one of the things that I remind myself all the time, if I'm having a challenging day, is to acknowledge how I feel, but also remember that it passes. And to think of it like the clouds in the sky. When you look up in the clouds and you see them moving by, you acknowledge them, of like, oh, you see the clouds, but then they move on. And, I know in my life and my journey that my mental health has had its highs and lows, but it always passes, it does. And the moment that I speak my truth, it loses its power over me, right? The more that I keep inside, the bigger it grows. And, I'm a very honest person, and I'm a very open person with people. I get a lot of messages from people in regards to mental health. And, I'm always, reminding them that I'm not a counselor. I am not, a licensed therapist. I'm just somebody who has been on the journey that I've been on, and I'm here to share my experience, strength, and hope with others. As was done with me. I found the courage to reach out for help because and I identified with that story. And I was in a very dark, dark, dark place when that happened. But because he did that, I reached out back to him, and I said, I need help and I don't know what to do. And I knew I could trust him because I knew he'd been there. And I love going into schools and talking about my story. And I love sharing my story with other people. Before I sought help, I never told anybody anything, and it's very easy in this industry to hide behind this facade of like, everything's great. We were on set and we were laughing, and like, now I'm at a premiere. And it's all like smoke and mirrors, because mental health doesn't care what you do for a living, where you live, how much money you make, what kind of car you drive, who your parents are. It doesn't care, right? It affects everybody. And, this last few years has been really difficult for most people. And, this is when we all need to come together and really be open and honest about how we're feeling and what's going on for us, because so many people need to hear that. You know, I feel like if I could take out a billboard that's like, you're not alone. You're not alone. You know, it's always such a treat to go in and talk to students, and it's never taken for granted that I get to stand up in front of a classroom and share about the day that I tried to take my life, and what that day was for me, and how I was given a gift by surviving, and that I had regretted what I had done after I had done it. But many don't get that chance, you know. And then I can stand up here today and say, there's hope. There's hope. I have a beautiful life today. And that's not to say that every single day is like rainbows and unicorns, because it's just not the way life works.
Yeah.
But I have tools today,
Right.
and I have a support system today to reach out to when I'm having a challenging day. And whenever I get to connect with another person and have a great conversation with someone about mental health and my story and their story, you know, it helps us both, because that's how it works. You know, I always say to people, don't ever think that you're bothering me. You're not, because you're also helping me, you know? And so that's why I'm super excited about the, you know, talking the real shit at the camp, because we get to do that, you know, that's what that hour is for. So if that's something that interests you and you're watching this, please go get your tickets before it sells out, because we're going to have just an awesome hour of like caring and sharing and laughter and like a load of hugs.
Yeah. Well, we'll be there.
Yeah,
We'll be
podcast
there.
time.
We'll be
Yeah,
there.
cool.
And I don't know if we're gonna need a ticket for it or not, but we'll be there. You know.
Okay.
So everybody in the chats is just so full of love, so thankful for your story, for sharing, and everyone who is going to be attending is absolutely looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about this interview. It's an hour and a half, and we really hadn't had to do much. These are the
You
type
carried the show, Carrie.
yeah, these are the type of interviews we love, where we just get. The last time I remember this happening was Xander.
Xander Berkeley, yeah.
Xander,
Yes, I think Xander probably.
Xander just told, he just, you know, went and just said it, you know, I mean, and just, it makes our jobs, we get enamored and we just listen. And listening to you talk and just your stories, everything from your personal story to everything in your acting career, it's been an hour and a half, and I feel like we just started, but it's been amazing.
See, now I'm waiting for your book. I really want to now,
Yeah.
because now I want to hear more.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have to do another one before May for
we
sure.
We will. And then
Yeah.
those who do want to meet Carrie at the camp, like she said, you know, if you want to meet her in the 1 hour session that they're having, or, you know, or just see her the day of the events, you know, go to the camp website. It's thecampevents.com. Get your tickets, and that's all you have to do. It's really simple. Also, if you want to keep up to date on everything that's going on, make sure you follow the camp. Make sure you can also follow us as well. We're actually really poor at advertising for ourselves. I can tell you that this is the first podcast that we've done so far this season where I'm actually going to put a plug in for us and say like if you could share and like and, you know, comment whatever you want. Follow us on YouTube, so that way you guys can keep up to date and see these great interviews with the actors from The Walking Dead or anywhere. And this has been everything that I hoped and wished it was going to be.
Absolutely.
Even with the 20-minute, you know, missing your name at the beginning and all the technical.
Or the 5 minutes of live that we didn't know we had.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back and watch that.
That's the only problem with
It's
live.
going to happen on Twitter in
That's
about 30 seconds after we end this.
We can't edit it, so it's there for life. And we're gonna own it. We owned it.
Yeah.
It's not like we were over here, you know, making like armpit farts or anything like that. You know, like,
Yeah.
hey, Carrie, look what I can do. This is freaking talented, right? You know, like.
You know, Carrie was like, oh, it's a
I
professional
didn't even
jerks.
get into all the crazy stuff that I was saying, that technical stuff very often goes wrong in our household because we've had a lot of experience with paranormal type activity.
Oh.
It was like, I didn't know if it was me, or I was like, do I need to get out the St. Michael, or do I need some sage? What's happening? My husband would actually be a very interesting guest for you guys too. He grew up in Westchester County.
Wait, what? That's right below us.
Like Westchester County,
and
like
he
New
grew
York.
up in a house
Yeah.
that had demonic
Had to
activity.
be.
So like, he has a very interesting childhood.
Westchester County, New York?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
That's 40 minutes.
40 minutes from us.
yeah, that's where he grew up.
Yeah,
So
we're
he has a very interesting childhood that he could share with you.
Well, Ryan used to do all the the
Paranormal investigation.
investigations.
Yep.
That was,
You
like, that was
Yep.
his forte before he came onto the podcast.
That's actually how I got onto the podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we were just at a convention and we were talking to Jason Hawes and his team, and Michael, my husband, was telling him a little bit about the house that he grew up in, and Jason was very intrigued by the story.
Really cool.
It's pretty crazy, but even as an adult, like there's things that have followed him, and yeah. He's got a pretty interesting story for sure. Let me say, like, within a month of us moving in together, I had to call a shaman.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Halloween is this coming weekend. I mean, look.
So, we're pretty like used to things going
Right.
a little sideways. Yeah. But we've got tools and people, just like mental health. I've got people on speed dial that I can call if something starts going.
We have
a little
resources.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, Hey, listen, if hubby ever wants to hop on and tell us about that wild childhood in Westchester County, Ryan and I will drive to the house he grew up in,
Absolutely.
and we'll just put a
You
table.
know,
We'll
he
just put a
hasn't been
table in
there
front of
in
the
a
house.
long time. We'll do an investigation. The thing is that what was there is beyond a haunting. It was actually demonic. So I don't know that we want to revisit that.
Yeah.
particularly.
Yeah.
I'm down for a little haunting, but when it gets into that, that's where
We draw the line. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Absolutely.
I'm gonna take it from the professional.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
If it's demon, we just need some salt.
Yeah.
That's what supernatural tells me.
That's
Just saying. Just gotta make a salt circle.
Yeah.
Trust me, we've had that.
Kosher?
Yeah.
Kosher salt?
My husband, one time we had to go get enough salt to, for the perimeter of our home. And so the only place we could figure out to do that was at a pet store, right? For people that have big aquariums. So he went and got like a 5-gallon tub of sea salt. And the woman at the desk was like, "You must have a lot of fish." And he goes, "No, we don't have any."
I just like sea salt.
And she looked at, I live in the South. I live in Atlanta, right? So she looked at him and she goes, "Oh." Like she knew.
Yeah. Yeah, the South, the Southern, they know.
So if anybody's ever in the South, if everyone's ever in Atlanta and needs some sea salt, we still got some. So we're good. I got your back.
Roughly 2 or 3 gallons left to play with.
We got the sea salt plug.
Very cool. Very awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna let you go so you can be with your family or do whatever you got for the rest of your evening. I can't express enough how thankful I am that you took time to be with us.
And being understanding of our issues.
Being understanding.
Be patient with us.
We do
All
hope that
part of it.
we do hope you had
It
a
was
good
all part of
time.
the experience.
Absolutely.
And
And we are, I do believe, for better or worse, we are inexperienced.
we are.
Take that for what you will.
We are an unscripted shit show,
Uh-huh.
and that usually happens this way.
And somehow we land on our feet like a cat.
Yeah. Renee pops in 20 minutes
I
later
love
and
it.
everything's perfect.
I love it. I love it. Well, I look forward to seeing you in May.
Gotcha.
And I look forward to seeing all of you out there in social media, virtual world, in the web
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Please come out and see us in May at the camp and get your tickets for the Talk Real Shit with Carrie Genzel
I like it.
dinner, because it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
It's been
absolutely.
our pleasure.
And we will definitely try to do this again. I know that
As we get closer.
as we get closer, we'll have you on again just to
That'll
get
be
you on
great.
here one more time.
I have another hour and a half.
Yeah. I'm all good with it.
Anytime.
I'm good with it.
All right.
All right. Thank
All
you
right,
so much,
everybody, have a
Karen.
great night. Thank you to everybody that sent in their questions. I'll go, I guess, can I see them are they on the camp website?
Yeah, so once this is done, we end this, you'll be able to go back to the show and you'll be able to
On
go
Facebook, yeah.
on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see which ones, I
And you can
missed.
go through all the
But thank
comments
you all
and-
for watching and for sending in your questions. And gosh, this is why we can't do any of it without you. So thank you for being here.
That's right.
100%.
That's right. Thank you everybody for this new experience on Facebook with us as well. This will be posted on our YouTube afterwards. So
Probably
anybody,
next day or two.
yeah, next day or two. So we'll do, in case you missed it, post and everything for everyone out there who didn't get to see it here. You can also, you can always watch it on the Camp's page, but we'll also have it on our YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, retweet, reshare, all that good stuff. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you want. However you feel. I'll break your thumb if you do the down. But other than that, you guys have a great night. Thank you for everyone being here.
Yes, thanks, guys.
Our overseas people, we love you. We know it's very late.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I think it's like
Go
3
to
o'clock in the
sleep
morning
now.
for Finland.
Yeah.
Pies in Finland, it's like 3 a.m. or something like that.
Wow, we
Love
love
you,
you.
Thank you. Good night, Carrie.
Bye,
Good
guys.
night,
Good night,
everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
Carrie.
you. Bye.
Bye.